Thank you, Madeline, and thank you all. I appreciate you taking time out of your evening, come listening to our presentation about our wonderful Ireland trip. I apologize for running late. Like I said, I thought my calendar was at 6:30. I was totally fine. So I appreciate you all being much more punctual than I. Now, has anyone in the room traveled with Spirit in the past? A bunch of us. So whenever I ask that question, I love to really brag. It's like, hey, they're coming back to travel with us again. And I think that really speaks volumes about not only Colette as a company, but the way that Spirit keeps customer service throughout the entire process of this. Now, who in the room has never heard of Colette? One of us. Hey, that's good. Two of us. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. It's totally fine. You won't be embarrassed until you learn. We've actually been doing this since 1918. We are a guided tour company. We're based out of Rhode Island. We're completely family owned and operated. We actually are completely debt-free, and we've been doing this for over 100 years. We took people on our very first tours on motor coaches that look like this. This is the old Colette Jitney bus. So back in January, they flew everybody out and we went to Rhode Island. We had our annual sales meeting and we had a 100-year anniversary gala, and they rolled this old thing right out of the barn. Completely refurbished. It looks like exactly how it would back in 1918. Now, in those days, our first tour was 3 weeks long. You went from Rhode Island, it took you a week to get to Florida. We spent a week there, it took us a week to get back. Can you guess how much that tour cost in 1918? Anybody? 900? 5? 50 is a lot closer. $65 it cost you back in those days. Now, a lot of people joke, they say, well, are you bringing that special back for your 100-year anniversary? And, we're not. But we still are true to our roots by traveling via motor coach. We now not only focus on the East Coast, we travel on to all 7 continents. There's not a lot of places we do not go. Another great thing about Colette that a lot of people don't realize is we're very philanthropic. We give back. We have over 20 different foundation sites all around the world. We give back to people less fortunate than us. So when you sign up on one of our tours, you know that a portion of your proceeds goes towards benefiting children all around the world. We've built schools in Africa. We have after-school programs in Australia. We do this all around the globe. So it's nice to know that you work with a family-owned philanthropic company. Now, my name is John Shaw. I've been proudly representing Colette over the last 5 years. I grew up south of here in a town called Maple Valley, Washington. Anybody? Yeah? I went to school at Central Washington University where I earned a degree in recreation and tourism. And a lot of people joke with me. It's like, yeah, you can actually get a degree in recreation. But you have to choose a route. Do you want to do recreation management or do you want to do tourism management? And if you look at the screen, it's easy to see the route that I chose. At a very young age, I was bit by the travel bug. I have a deep passion for travel. So many of us in the room, we could probably sit and talk travel for hours and hours and hours. But I've had a lot of great opportunities to check things off of my bucket list, but what makes me very happy, what keeps me coming into these types of meetings every day is the fact that I help you check things off of your bucket list. And when you show me those photos, when you're telling me all about your trip, I mean, I had a woman one time show up with 1,000 developed photos from a trip she went on with us to our next presentation. First, I was like, people still do that? They get their photos developed? And while she was showing me every single flower she saw through her trip to Costa Rica, I just couldn't help but think about how happy I was that I helped her achieve her dreams. Now, has anyone in the room never done a guided tour, motor coach tour? Anybody? Don't be shy. Okay? Never done a guided tour on a motor coach. A lot of times people, it really worries them. Oh my gosh, 44 people on tour. If it's Tuesday, it must be Belgium, right? That is something we want to get away from. We want you to embrace the freedom of guided touring. Everywhere we go, you're going to have a professionally planned itinerary. Now, these itineraries are not created by someone in our office in Rhode Island who is just sitting there on the computer doing research and saying, oh, this might work. Let's see if the people will buy it. That's not how we do business. Our product team is walking the footsteps of the tour well before we ever sell it to you. So you know that we've met with the owners of the hotels, we've met with the owners of the restaurants, the families in which we'll be taking you to. It is very much an involved process, and we know exactly what we're selling you well before we ever sell it. Everywhere we go is 4 stars or better hotel accommodations. Okay? On the, it looks like kind of the 1, 2, 3, third to last page, just after the reservation form in your flyer, you see that there is a little gray box. In that box are all the hotels we'll be using. We always list our hotels. This is the information age. We know that you might want to look these up. What are the reviews? What are people saying? Where is this hotel? We are all about quality and strategic location. When we want you in the city, for instance, in Killarney, you walk across the street, that town is at your fingertips. But also, you look at our very last hotel, it's called the Cabra Castle. It is not near a city, but it's all about a strategic location to give you the best possible experience. While on tour, we provide you with a professional tour manager. They are with you from beginning till end. Along the way, you'll meet expert local guides who can provide you with the experience only a local can provide. While on tour, you never have to pull out your pocketbook when we take you somewhere. There's no entry fees that you have to pay. It's already taken care of. Preferential access. We don't wait in big lines. Unparalleled sightseeing of what we call the must-sees of each destination. What does that even mean? Well, has anyone done an ocean cruise? For those of us who've done an ocean cruise, you know you pay X amount of dollars to get on that ship, but you want to do anything. You're pulling out your pocketbook, right? We do not want to nickel and dime you on tour. So we have unparalleled sightseeing. No one else gives you as much as we do. We're going to take you to the must-sees. We have a very robust itinerary. We're also going to provide you with enough free time for you to experience this destination on your own. A little independent exploration. We're going to provide you with enriching cultural experiences. There's no reason why you should travel halfway across the world and the first thing you do is find a McDonald's. We also don't want to have you eating buffets in the conference room of the hotel every night. We're going to have cultural immersion activities where we meet the locals, where we have events while we eat. 10, 15 years ago, we just fed our travelers because they were hungry. Nowadays, people want an experience, they want an event, and you're going to have that all throughout tour. Comfortable on-tour transportation, hotel-to-hotel baggage handling. So when you look at the map of where we're going, you notice we see a few different hotels. You don't ever have to do any heavy lifting as we do hotel-to-hotel baggage handling for you. You just make sure your bags are out in front of your room at the right time. So Shades of Ireland is the name of our tour. Little known secret, this is our #1 selling tour. And that's because everyone loves Ireland. Why do people love Ireland? Well, many of us are looking up our ancestry. They see their lineage, their heritage dates back to Ireland. But it really is the people and the culture that make this country amazing. And getting a chance to meet those people is something you'll never forget. Of course, going through a beautiful countryside, you can't help but think to yourself, how is this place so close to a massive continent like Europe so unspoiled? You're going through countryside after countryside. You'll see old ruins and you think to yourself, wow, that building is hundreds of years old. There's no roof. It's still standing. Those walls, as you see as you go through, and the different walls that are built around the pastures, you can't help to think to yourself, when was that built? How is it still standing? It's so unspoiled. Now, as we go through the countryside, you're going to see thousands of shades of green. You're going to see sheep. You're going to see dramatic coastlines. Sometimes you'll say, gosh, this looks just like Snoqualmie Pass. It looks just like back home. Now we're going to see everything that Ireland has to offer in just 10 days. And it's a very panoramic, comprehensive tour. So here's your tour at a glance, okay? We're going to fly in and out of Dublin. The numbers on the map signify how many nights we're in that city. 2 nights in Dublin, a quick stop in Waterford, 2 nights in Killarney, 2 nights in Limerick, and a night in King's Court to really top it off. Now, has anyone never been to Europe? Awesome. If you can't take it back. You already said. If you've never been to Europe, don't be surprised. Everything's an overnight flight. We're going to leave here. I know it's a wide gap. Mid-morning to mid-afternoon. Okay, we don't know our exact schedule right now. Mid-morning to mid-afternoon, you're going to leave Seattle. You're probably going to fly Seattle to London, but you may fly Seattle to like the East Coast. Whichever, you're going to go straight from there to Dublin. Okay? You're going to land in Dublin about mid-morning. Typically, we're not even allowed to check into our hotel, so take that advantage. Take the time to go out and spend some exploration in Dublin. Okay? We arrive in Dublin. You don't have anything planned this day until this evening when we have our welcome dinner. Our welcome dinner, we get to have a rollicking good time as we go and visit a local pub where they're going to have Irish step dancing, Irish folk songs, and Irish singing. It is a great time to really immerse yourself into the culture. Here, I First Irish meal, right into it, got some Irish beef stew. Also at this restaurant, I had the best clam chowder I've ever tasted, and I've been to Rhode Island multiple times. Now the next day is when we really start our touring, okay? You were talking about, what does that mean, the choice, right? How do you want to see Dublin? Do you want to see Dublin by motor coach, or do you want to see Dublin by foot? Okay, you have a choice. This doesn't cost you extra. It's a way for you to personalize your experience. Some of us are more active than others. Some of us want to do hop on, hop off on the motor coach. That's totally fine. When you do the hop on, hop off with the motor coach, you're going to make stops at beautiful park like St. Stephen's Green. We're going to visit St. Patrick's Cathedral. A lot of people think we're going to St. Patrick's Cathedral. We're in Ireland. This must be a Catholic church. It's very wrong. This is the Church of Ireland. It is a Protestant church. We go into this beautiful cathedral with amazing history, and we get to see beautiful stained glass, the arches. You get a local to take us around the church. And there's always, I think this is one of the funniest things, the old doors of St. Patrick's Cathedral had a big giant hole in it, and you had to reach your arm about up to your shoulder to open the door. And they had a term called chancing your arm. Were you ever going to get it back? Who knows? And that evolved into the term taking a chance. And that's where this came from. So while you're in there, make sure you go and chance your arm at the big giant old doors. I came home with both, so don't worry. Yeah. On the Dublin Motor Coach Tour, we'll also stop along the iconic symbol of Dublin, which is the stately Georgian townhomes, which are stacked side by side in rows. I was on this tour, and we pull up in this little neighborhood, and the motor coach pulls over. I go, what's going on? Everyone gets off, and I could not believe how excited these people were to take photos of other people's front doors. It was amazing. This is an iconic symbol of Dublin, the Georgian row homes with the ivy going up the side, the different colored doors. And you'll say to yourself, why are all these doors such different colors? Well, long, long ago, when the King of England was ruling Ireland, he said all the front doors must be white. The Irish said, come and change them yourself, buddy. We'll have all different colored doors. So you'll see that all throughout the countryside. Now, if you don't want to do the motor coach tour, you're going to stay in the city center, and we're going to do a walking tour of Dublin. You're going to go along O'Connell Street. Some of us might remember, it wasn't that long ago that there was a lot of political turmoil in the country of Ireland. On O'Connell Street has literally been the stage of Irish history for hundreds of years. When you go down O'Connell Street, you'll see the statues. You'll still see bullet holes in the statues from that political turmoil. It's a way that you really start to feel history as you're sitting there on those streets. We're also going to make stops at Grafton Street in the Temple Bar District, very famous district. O'Connell Street. Grafton Street is a pedestrian thoroughfare. When you get to Dublin and you have some free time to explore on your own, head to Grafton Street, go do some shopping, do some people watching. It's a great place to hang out. Now, the rest of your day is at leisure, okay? Now, we all know a little bit about the Irish, and one of the things that is very famous in Ireland is the Guinness Brewery. So, if you would like, the option today is to go to the Guinness Brewery and then stop at a local restaurant called O'Connell's of Donnybrook, where the owners are locals, and they're going to come talk to you about owning a restaurant, and you're going to have a great meal and visit the brewery. If you do visit the brewery, make sure you go all the way upstairs to their Gravity Bar, where they have the best view in Dublin. This was a photo I took in February. Could you believe Dublin looked like this in February? But I love this city because there's no metropolitan feel at all. The only thing you see that stands out above the skylines are the church spires. And I love that about Dublin. You really feel like old Europe here. The next day, we're going to make... Yes?
Is this walking tour guided?
The walking tour is guided, absolutely. No matter which one you choose, you were with a guide.
Thank you.
Absolutely. The next day, we're going to make our way to Waterford with a stop in Kilkenny. In Kilkenny, you're going to see beautiful Kilkenny Castle. I walked down to the edges of the river and took some really cool pictures of the castle with the river in the foreground. We don't take you into the castle. You can pay a couple of euro and go in there if you'd like. Kilkenny's more of a stop for you to get off, stretch your legs, and enjoy a few hours in town while not on the motor coach. Walk around, take some photos of the castle. We're going in April, so the castle's gardens should be in full bloom. It'll be beautiful. Then go find yourself a little cafe, grab a sandwich, and get back on the motor coach as we make our way down to Waterford. Now in Waterford, we all know what happens there, right? You guys awake? Huh? All right. We have another choice for you. How do you want to see Waterford? If you were my mother, I know exactly which one you're doing. You're going to the Waterford Crystal Factory, but maybe that's not what you want to see. You can do tour and wine tasting at the Medieval Museum. When you go to the Waterford Crystal Factory, you are in awe to see the way that they've built these things. Now, the first thing everyone asks is, where's the stuff that's kind of blemished for a little bit cheaper? Nothing with even a millimeter of a blemish makes it off the floors of the factory. It gets smashed and destroyed. Right? Who would smash Waterford Crystal? I smashed Waterford Crystal. It was fun. You get a chance to do that with some of the stuff that's not going to make it, but you see everything from the moment that they're blowing the glass to where they're cutting the glass with water to where they're hand etching it. It is amazing to learn about the people who become apprentices and then oftentimes masters of this artwork. They have the last 2 years is the first time they started hiring new apprentices. They had a freeze for over 10 years. And they had the same people in there working. You see amazing works of arts, some things from famous golf tournaments, some things, famous trophies. We had a guy on tour who was from Arkansas. He was an Arkansas Razorback alum. And if you know anything about the South, they are die-hard about their college football. Now, he was a pastor, and he was a big college football fan. And I showed him the Waterford Crystal, which was the old college football trophy. And he asked, can I, he was scared to ask the guide, can I hold that? And I asked for him. They let him hold it. As he was holding it, he's laughing so hard because he said, this is the closest Arkansas will ever get to a national championship. Now, if you don't want to do the Waterford Crystal Factory, that's totally fine. Again, one thing, you always exit through the gift shop, right? So you exit through the gift shop at the Waterford Crystal Factory, and there's beautiful things that you can purchase. You can go to the Medieval Museum and go down to a wine cellar that dates back to the 15th century if you choose. We stay the night in Waterford, okay? The next day, we're going to make our way to Killarney with stops at the Blarney Castle. And who knows what happens at the Blarney Castle? You climb up the stairs, you lean over backwards, and you kiss the Blarney Stone. And what happens when you kiss the Blarney Stone? Anybody? You're bestowed with the gift of gab, the gift of eloquence. Now, some of us in this room, you might be looking at your neighbor and say, he doesn't need any more gift of gab, trust me. It's really funny because this girl is not kissing the Blarney Stone. The Blarney Stone's at the bottom of this wall. The same old guy will be there holding you upside down. There's gates. You're not going to fall through. They've got this big box that takes pictures, and you could go down to the gift shop and purchase it. My suggestion, have your partner take a picture of you kissing it, and you don't got to buy it. If you don't want to lean over and kiss the stone, going into the castle is a lot of fun. There's infographics on the wall. It says, this is the children's room. This is the old kitchen. And I thought it was really interesting. I was standing above the door. There's a metal grate below my feet. I had no idea why there was a metal grate in this castle. And the infographic said, well, this metal grate was installed so that if there was intruders, the castle owners could throw hot oil through the grate and stop the intruders. I thought that was wild. When you're at the top of the castle, you see the view of the park, almost as if there'd be a leprechaun in here, right? So we park over here, and we walk through the park, and we meander as the river does to the Blarney Castle. When you're in Blarney, they have the largest Irish gift shop in the world. If you'd like, go in there and go crazy. I went and found a local restaurant where I got my first fish and chips. I was very surprised. It's not like Ivar's where they pull out little strips of fish and chips. It's a full half of a fillet, fried. It was delicious. It was delicious. That biggest Irish gift shop, I must warn you, you may go and buy an Irish woolen sweater. You might look at the tag and it says made in China. If you're okay buying an Irish sweater that was made in China but you bought in Ireland, that's fine. But if you want something, hey, I can tell you stories about things that I've bought that obviously were made in China in different countries. But if you want a really authentic, handmade Irish sweater, we're going to take you to a gift shop that we're partners with called Moriarty's. And the owner of that gift shop that sells you the sweater probably knows the person who made it. So if you want something more authentic, hold off. If you don't care, and you might find the exact same thing, I don't know. I didn't go in that gift shop, but this is exactly what our tour manager told us. As we leave Blarney, we're going to be going through the beautiful countryside of Ireland on our way to Killarney. And as we go through into Killarney, we cross into the Killarney National Park. Keep your eyes out. You might see the red stag deer on the side of the road. You might say, that looks like a deer, but it looks like an elk. It's like a mini elk, but they're the red stag deer. And I had the best venison I've ever tasted while in Killarney, so keep that in mind. Tonight, we have Diner's Choice. How do you want to experience Killarney's dining experience? So while we're out there, we're going to give you a menu of restaurants in Killarney. The meal is included tonight, but you don't have to go with everyone as a group. Some of you might go to restaurant A, some B, some C, some D, but the meal's on us and you get to choose when and where you want to eat. It's a nice way to experience an inclusion without having to go as an entire group. Sometimes it's just nice not to have a schedule in the evenings. I know we're on tour. As we spend the next couple nights in Killarney, we get to embark on one of the best drives in all of Europe. We're going to take the iconic Ring of Kerry loop. As we drive the iconic, I see she's excited. As we drive the iconic coastline, you're going to see dramatic rock formations. You're going to look to your left and see fields and fields of green. And if you get in a traffic jam, don't worry, it's just some sheep. The ocean scenery, the mountain scenery, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's a 111-mile long circular loop that you will hope never ends. We're going to take pauses to enjoy great views. And don't worry, I was in February with a little snow on the tops of the hills. You'll be there in the spring. You won't have to worry about that, but you'll still get the beautiful views. We're going to stop at a place called the Gap of Dunloe. The Gap of Dunloe is literally the break in the mountains there. This is where you go to Moriarty's, that great gift shop. Buy yourself a nice scarf or hat, a jacket, or a woolen mill sweater. Keep your eyes out again as you see the locals. Let me make sure that we are doing this on this day. Excuse me. Okay. Oh, we will stop at a local farm and have a sheepdog demonstration. Now, as you pull into that farm, you might think to yourself, why on earth are we visiting a farm? I said the same thing. When we left that farm, everyone agreed it was one of the best stops, and that was because of the people. The people of Ireland make the country what it is. And when you get a chance to meet these local farmers and see the way that they've got their dogs working and the jokes that they tell, you'll really enjoy yourself. The night is yours to enjoy the rest of your evening on your own. The next day, we're going to start with a traditional jaunting car ride through Killarney National Park. You ever heard, oh yeah, Seattle, we're in Shoreline. Seattle's just a jaunt from here, right? This is a jaunting car. That's where they got that term from. So we're going to hop in our horse and buggy and go along beautiful scenery through Killarney National Park, ending at Ross Castle, where we get to soak in stunning views of the lakes. We're going to depart Killarney, and we're going to end up in a little town called Adare. And you can stop into the Adare Visitor Center, where there's this little old man, and his name is Jer from Adare. And you could tell him your name, and he'll pull up a list of your lineage, and he'll print out your family crest and a list of history of your family. It's very interesting. A lot of people spend a lot of time right there in the visitor center. You can walk around Adare. There's a beautiful church. It's a lot of fun. And then we're going to make our way to Limerick. In Limerick, we're going to see King John's Castle, which has history dating back to the 2nd century. We're going to see the Treaty Stone, which often is called the Broken Treaty Stone because those treaties were broken time and time again. There you see a little bit of King John's Castle. It was built in the 13th century, but long ago there is remnants of Viking settlements here well before that castle was ever built. Now the next day, as we have the next 2 nights in Limerick, the next day you're going to embark on what was my favorite day of the trip. This is what I was looking forward to. Now everyone in here is going to have different reasons they want to go to Ireland. For me, it was the natural beauty, the rugged coastlines, standing on tops of the Cliffs of Moher. The Cliffs of Moher, 500 feet jetting directly out of the Atlantic Ocean. On a nice day with a good swell, you'll look down, you'll see the locals surfing. You'll say, gosh, they must be cold. And then as you're walking along the cliff sides, you'll also see thousands of local seabirds just flying around. It is a scene. You can walk all along the sides of the cliffs. Some of the areas do have like a barricade. Others don't, so please be careful. Don't get too close to the edge. You can walk up. There's a little castle at the edge here. You can walk right up to it, pay a couple euro, and go up in it. Or you can not go up in it, still have a great view, as my face is literally facing that castle. Again, this was in February, could you believe? You can walk as far along these cliffs as you'd like, one way or the other. There's also a nice little gift shop and cafe there, but it might be hard to see because it's built into the ground. All you see is these windows in the grass. It's really cool. From there, we're going to take off and we're going to see the Burren region. The Burren region is unlike anything you've seen thus far. As you're traveling through the countryside, it looks a lot like Western Washington. It looks a lot like the Oregon coast. Then all of a sudden, you see these giant rock formations that just seem to take over the landscape. We're going to visit these ancient Neolithic rock creations from way, way back when. And I actually took this photo, and it's very interesting because it's unlike anything you've seen along this trip. We end today visiting Galway, the city of the tribes, with our local guide who gives us an introduction to the city of tribes here in Galway. The next day, we're going to make our way to our final hotel, which is truly a treat. We stop in Tullamore. We are in Ireland. We couldn't stop through Ireland without visiting a local whiskey distillery and learning about the traditions of whiskey and how important it is to their history. From there, we end at Cobber Castle. And for all of you who've always wanted to go to Ireland, there's no better way to spend your last night than in a castle. Here we are at the Cobber Castle for our very last night with Victorian era rooms, much larger than most of the European standards that you're used to. And as we had our welcome dinner with the song and dance, we may have started as strangers. We have a farewell dinner in our castle where we all end as friends. And we toast to an amazing journey through the Irish countryside. Now, if you'd like, you can always, we can help you out with air upgrades, pre or post hotel nights, pre or post tour extensions. There's a little secret. I don't know if Madeline told you, but we're working on securing a small custom extension for you to visit Scotland after the tour. So for those of us saying, gosh, I'm going all the way out there, I'd love to see both countries. We're going to help you out with that. Now, we do have a little itinerary we've put together. It's going to be 2 nights in Glasgow. It's going to be 2 nights in Edinburgh, and then you're going to fly home. We don't have a price for that yet as we're still contracting with the hotels, but you're going to see the National Piping Center and learn how to play bagpipes. You're going to see Edinburgh on a city tour, so you're going to get some guided stuff as well. 2 nights Glasgow, 2 nights Edinburgh. We're hoping that comes anywhere between $1,000 and $1,500 extra, okay? That's with flights, everything. Hotels, sightseeing. If that is not enough for you, we have a 10-day Scotland tour that you might be able to do back-to-back. If that's something you'd rather do, Madeline and I will work on securing that for you, okay? But we're going to have those options available. If you want to go into Dublin a few nights early, we can help you with that with some pre-nights as well. If you want to stay in the Cobber Castle an extra night, we'll help you with a post-night. Now, this tour doesn't have a ton of options. We're not a big nickel and dime company, but we provide you with free time. During your free time is when you'll see an option, okay? You see the Guinness Storehouse with O'Connell's of Donnybrook. And then on one of the nights in Limerick that you don't have dinner provided, you have an option to purchase the medieval banquet dinner. I mean, that's full King Arthur of the Round Table, a turkey leg, and it's a fun experience. As you're looking through this little flyer, on at the end of each of the days, you see in parentheses a B or AD. That stands for breakfast or dinner. Which meal is provided for you this day? You're going to have breakfast every day at the hotel, and the breakfast spreads are great. Then you're going to have 5 of your dinners. 8 breakfasts, 5 dinners for a total of 13 meals. The reason we don't provide you every single dinner is we know it's important for you to not have a schedule every hour of the day. We know it's important for you to be able to take some time by yourself or with a loved one and experience this destination on your own as well. Now, if you'd like, you can purchase our travel insurance. The travel insurance on this tour is only $315. If you've ever purchased travel insurance, you look around the room, we'd all literally pay a different price. With us, it's a flat rate. Most travel insurance is canceled for covered medical reasons only. If you don't have a doctor's note, an x-ray, or an official reason to cancel, you're not going to get any money back. With us, when you purchase that $315 insurance, you're going to get medical assistance, evacuation, baggage loss delay. Some of these eventualities that we've experienced while traveling, we want to make sure you're covered for. But what our insurance does is So we give you the peace of mind that no other company in the business gives you. We give you the peace of mind that you can cancel for absolutely any reason up until 24 hours before you leave and get a full cash refund minus the cost of insurance. So the trip leaves April 29th. You call us before midnight on April 28th. You say, I don't want to go. No questions asked. Full cash refund minus the cost of insurance. Cancellation for even a bad hair day. The only thing you'll lose is the $315 cost of the insurance. The peace of mind is well worth it. Now, is anyone going to Israel with us? Is anyone going to Washington, D.C. with us? For those of us who've traveled with us within the past 2 years or the past 1 year, you're part of our Passport Club, our loyalty program. If this is your second trip within 12 months, you're going to get $150 off the cost of that second tour. Maybe it's within 13 to 24 months. We won't leave you hanging. We're going to give you $100 off the cost of that second tour. And for all of those traveling with us for your first time, you're all going to become part of the Passport Club automatically, and the next trip you take with Colette, you're going to get these automatically deducted off your final balance. I hope we all have our passport. If we don't, I hope you plan to get one. We do not need a visa, but your passport needs at least 6 to 8 months validity beyond your date of travel. The United States government will not let you out of the country if your passport is going to expire within 6 months. So make sure that your passport's good beyond 6 months of your date of travel, and you'll have nothing to worry about. You can reserve your seat today, and we're going to talk about how to do that. If you look at the front of the flyer, it says book early and save, $100 off the cost of the tour. If you book before October 30th of this year, you're going to save $100 off the cost of the tour. So you see a price crossed out. We're selling this at a special tour price of $3,549 per person based on double occupancy. A single occupancy will pay $4,049. It's a little more expensive. That's a fee passed on to us from the hotels. So Shades of Ireland, April 29th through May 8th, 2019. $3,549 per person based on double occupancy. What's included in that price? Well, included in that price is round-trip airfare out of SeaTac. Transfers to and from the hotels while in Ireland. It includes your motor coach driver, your tour manager, your local guides, your 4-star hotels. It includes, 13 meals, 8 breakfasts, 5 dinners. It includes all the sightseeing we talked about, some that we like to keep to ourselves. It is a very inclusive package. You know what you're getting when you pay for it. And you know while on tour, you only have to buy souvenirs and a couple meals on your own. We do currently, I believe, Madeline, I saw 2 names in already. We have 2 people already signed up on this tour. We have an entire motor coach reserved for ourselves. There's 44 people total on the motor coach that we've reserved. On October 30th, we're going to release that space back into the public, okay? We're hoping to fill it. Seats are first come, first serve. A deposit is $500. Insurance is $315. If you want the deposit, or if you want the insurance, it's got to come with your deposit. Deposit plus insurance is $815. You then don't have to make another payment until February 28th of next year. When I was filling this out, I almost wrote February 30th. If you put down a deposit today, tomorrow, next week, 2 weeks from now, and you decide, gosh, something's come up and I can't go, and you cancel before October 30th, you won't lose a penny. You'll be reimbursed everything, even the cost of the insurance. This is the date the insurance kicks in. The insurance kicks in, and if you cancel up until the day before you leave, assuming you've purchased the insurance, full cash refund minus the cost of insurance. So a lot of people are thinking to themselves, you know, I gotta think about it, I might want to go home. You can reserve your seat, and you always have an out before October 30th. So keep that in mind, because this is first come, first serve. We do foresee that this will sell out. It's a very popular destination, and this is the only trip that we've got planned so far for next year, so we're hoping to see a good turnout. Now, I want to open the floor to any questions about Shades of Ireland. There's got to be at least one. Go ahead. Don't be shy. Do not be shy. There's no dumb questions.
That's a really silly one.
There's no silly questions, just silly people.
And the hotels are typically 2 small beds or...
Yeah, you know, you're going to have 2 beds. and it's not queen beds usually. European standards are much smaller than ours. They're going to have smaller rooms. You're going to have smaller beds. Typically, those 2 beds will be pushed together, but it's going to be like 2 fulls.
Okay.
Very standard. That's a great question. And then before everyone leaves, you get together as a group. We're going to send you a list of documents, travel tips, things like that, that you should know about currency, electricity. We'll set you up for success before you leave. Go ahead.
That reminds me of another thing. I read somewhere where, are we going to have cash for everything that we buy? Does no one take charge cards there?
No, you can use your card, absolutely. I use my card all over Ireland. Maybe little small vendors, things like that, but besides that, I use my card everywhere. Yeah, absolutely.
I read where we had that. Where did I read that?
A lot of time, you'll read that it's like, oh, the local bar, the local restaurants won't accept card. Not true.
Okay, good.
You'll be fine. Some of them may be, but that's like that here. There's a few cash-only places still.
But you can use it.
Yeah, you won't run into a lot of trouble using your card.
Well, we stayed in a hotel in Paris. It was like sleeping on springs or nails. I just always have to ask about them.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I really talk about our hotels. We list them. If you're ever looking at traveling with the company and they don't list their hotels, red flag. Why? I want to know where I'm staying. We have great hotels, great reviews. At the end of the tour, you're going to get a survey. And if we get bad reviews on a hotel on that survey, we'll change. We listen to our travelers. And we've changed all throughout the years. We're constantly evolving. We're constantly getting better. So we're going to be at great hotels the entire time.
You got a lot of things going on. So how much time are you actually traveling between cities?
Yeah, Ireland's not that big. Yeah, you're going to have a couple hours on the motor coach here and there. The Ring of Kerry's, an all-day thing. I don't have exact numbers for you, but let's say from Dublin to Kilkenny is going to be an hour, maybe 2. From Kilkenny to Waterford is going to be a lot less. Waterford to Blarney is about an hour and a half. Blarney to Killarney should be about another hour and a half. It's nothing crazy. You had a question, ma'am?
I have a few questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of them is, where did you say that they do the crest, or whatever you call it, for
In Adair.
Adair?
Yeah, so that's going to be on a day, let me find that for you.
Day 8?
Second to the last day, isn't it?
Day 7.
Day 7.
Day 7 is when you'll go to Adair. So you stop in Adair, Ireland's prettiest village, for some time at leisure. That's when you'll
Where's
go.
that listed?
Day 7.
Oh, here it is.
Day 7. Go find Jer. He's in Adair. Go ahead.
When we had ours done, both families, my family and my
Yeah.
husband's family, but when we got them, we weren't sure they were accurate. So
I'd
I'm
say
thinking-
Adair. Jer might, be kind of similar because it looks official. He'll print you off this docket. It looks like a scroll, and he'll give you your family crest. I bought some Shaw stuff. We're not even Irish. Go ahead.
One of my other questions is, if instead of canceling,
Mhm.
can you change people in case one of you can't go?
Yes and no. I say yes because you can, and we'll work with you on that, but it depends on how close you are to departure. If you've already been ticketed by the airlines, you're going to pay a change fee to change names. And if that person's like, yeah, I'll just pay the change fee, thanks, that's totally fine. So yes and no. Does that make sense? Perfect.
And how do you get back from the last place back to Dublin?
We transfer you via motor coach to the airport. We take
It
care.
doesn't show that on here.
No, it doesn't. No, but we get you. Put your thumb out. Yeah. No, we take care of transfers to and from. So, in our price is airfare. In our airfare price is built in a full transportation package, so you don't have to worry. Once you get to SeaTac, you fly to Dublin. You're going to pick up your bags. You're going to go out to the main area. You're going to see someone with the Colette sign. You're going to be taken care of the entire time until we drop you back off at Dublin Airport. Yes, ma'am.
What about tipping?
Tipping, great question. There's no tips included in this. Now, when we take you to a dinner, if it's a dinner we're taking you to, you never pull out your wallet unless you're buying a drink. Like sometimes dinners include 1 soda or 1 glass of wine per person, and then everything after that's on your own. It depends on what we've contracted with the restaurant. But for tipping at restaurants, you always keep your wallet in your pocket. We've taken care of it if we've provided for the dinner. Now, the people you're going to want to prepare to tip for are your tour manager, your motor coach driver, and your local guides. Before you leave, we send you a documents packet. They just did this for Israel like 2 weeks ago. Madeline's very familiar with this. We send you these beautiful document packets, and in there's a suggestion of who to tip and how much. I suggest before you leave, you take an envelope and you write motor coach driver on the front, and you write tour manager on the front of the other one, and you stuff that with the suggestion that we give you. It's like $5 to $8 a day for the tour manager, and it's like $3 to $6 a day for the motor coach driver. And then I just put the money in that envelope, so at the end of the tour, I'm not that person that's like, Madeline, you did the best job ever, but I spent all my money, have a great life. You know, you want to be able to tip them when they provide you with great service.
What was the third one?
Local guides. So the local guides are like $1 to $2 a day, and you're going to have tons of little euro coin. Once you start spending euros, you have lots of 1 and 2 euro coin, and you just flip them one of those.
So you tip them in euros.
I would tip the local guides in euros. If you can, I would tip the motor coach driver in euros. The tour manager is going to be the least likely to be upset about getting American dollars because they're typically North American, and you know they work with us all over the countries.
So where do you suggest we get the euros and how many should we?
It's a great question. So again, in those documents, we're going to give you a suggestion, and my suggestion is aligns with that as well. Now everyone's different. However you travel and makes you feel comfortable, I want you to continue doing that. Some people are going to go to the AAA or Wells Fargo or their local bank, and they're going to bring a stack of euro. And they're going to bring everything they want to spend on them. That's not how I like to travel personally. I bring my credit card, I bring my debit card, and I use that until I find an ATM. I find an ATM and I pull out some euro. Because when you use an ATM in Dublin or Ireland or anywhere in Ireland, it's going to give you local currency. So I pull out a couple $100 worth of euro and I try to make that last, and when I need some more, I hit another ATM.
What's the charge though if you're using it over there?
That's a good question. Talk to your bank. No, it's not that bad. It's a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there. I think that it's worth it for the peace of mind for me personally. But you can talk to your bank and you can say, are there ATMs in Ireland that I can use where I'm not going to get a charge? Will I get an international transaction fee if I use it at the local gift shop or if I use it at the local ATM? You just want to ask your bank those questions, and each individual person is going to have a different answer. Those are great questions, though.
Yeah, usually the guide knows where the ATMs are.
Yeah, you'll be able to find the ATMs, no worries, but it's a matter of sometimes there's ATMs you get charged for using for your bank, and some there's not. I used an ATM that was like in this wall in Kilkenny. I was like, oh, I need some money. And it was literally like on the sidewalk, like flush in this wall, and I just used one right there. So, yes, sir.
So the Scotland extension, when are you going to have the details on that?
We're working on it. I don't know. We'll keep you posted.
Okay, because that's kind of a tipping point for us.
Okay. So what do you mean? What can I answer for you?
Well, I mean specifically, like, what are we going to see? Where are we going to stay? You know, those sort of things.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I submitted, and we're working on it. Our product team is simply contracting this. But we're going to go from Dublin, okay? And we're going to fly into Glasgow. In Glasgow, we're going to spend 2 nights, okay? We're going to visit the National Piping Center and get a bagpipe demonstration. We're going to have a dinner with a farm-to-table meal, and we're going to stay in Glasgow that night. The next day, we're going to drive up to Loch Lomond for a loch cruise. We're going to have tea and scones with a family on a farm with a border collie demonstration. And the remainder of your day in Glasgow is at leisure. People love Glasgow as a town. From there, we're going to transport to Edinburgh, and we're going to do a city tour by motor coach with an interactive cooking demonstration with free time in the city before dinner. The last day in Edinburgh is going to be an entire day of leisure to enjoy Edinburgh on your own, so you're going to have nothing scheduled. I thought that would be really nice for you folks. And then the next day you fly home. So 2 nights Glasgow, 2 nights Edinburgh. I did this for another group, and it came in, I want to say, I don't remember, but like I said, it was between $1,000 and $1,500. I know that's kind of broad, but that's what it came out as, and that was with airfare.
Thank you.
It wasn't bad at all. I hope that helps.
Yeah, that does. Thank you.
And remember, I mean, if you're saying, gosh, I really want to make sure to reserve my seat on this tour because there's, you know, if people sign up before you, we can't guarantee you a seat. If you want to sign up and before October 30th, you always have an easy out. You won't lose a single penny.
did you say you were opening it up to the public, or?
October 30th. Basically, we don't give Spirit 105.3 a minimum. So if only you sign up, you're the only person in this room who decides to go, you're going to go. We'll just group you up with other folks. Our goal is to fill the coach on our own. We have the entire coach reserved for us. So it's just us as of now.
Have you filled it with the other trips?
Oh, yeah.
We haven't had an issue.
I don't know about you guys, but I always thought it was a reasonable number. I mean, it wasn't too big and it wasn't.
Good number.
When you think about it like this, it's a motor coach tour. You're going to be with some folks. But you're not on a 44-person motor coach, so you don't feel like a sardine. We're not shoehorning you in there and having your carry-ons on your lap. We typically charter 52 to 55-person motor coaches, and so there's always some room. You might be that traveler who says, I'm going to sit in the back the entire time because the back rows aren't filled. That's totally fine, because when you get on that motor coach, you have an assigned seat for the day. And the next day, you're going to have a different assigned seat. You're always going to be by your companion or your person you're traveling with. But that way, no one's in the front the whole time, no one's in the back the whole time. You'll see many different vantage points on the motor coach. More questions? I liked it. We got some gears generating on that one, yeah.
When was the last time you guys went to Ireland? You were talking about you had gone there.
I went a couple years ago, but we at Spirit 105.3, we've never done an Ireland trip.
So before.
Here at Spirit 105.3, with Colette and before us, they've done some other trips, but we've done Israel twice, 3 times now? Twice. We've done Greece and the footsteps of Paul. We did a tour of Italy. We went to Washington, D.C. and visited the Museum of the Bible. And now we're doing Israel, in a couple days they're going?
October 8th.
October 8th, and then we're doing this next spring, Ireland.
Something he didn't mention on the, yeah, I know you covered a lot, but what's cool with these tours also is I know I've traveled with a different tour company that you had to like keep up with the tour guide the whole time. This one you'll get headsets, so when you're along the tour, you'll be able to hear everything he's saying. You don't have to be right there with your guide.
Everyone walks at a different pace.
Yeah.
And while we're in Europe, you're going to have what we call a whisper headset. It's a little receiver that hangs around your neck and you have an earpiece that goes right here. So if you're like me and at the back of the tour group, you still have the tour guide in your ear the whole time. It's very nice. I'm totally that guy that's like stuck staring at the statue and I'm like, oh, they're like 40 yards away. I gotta run up, but I can still hear them. More questions? Well, when you're filling out your reservation form, it's in the middle of the flyer. Now, this price says, what, $35.49? Because you took time out of your day, I like to say thank you. And if you fill out your reservation form tonight, we're going to save an extra $50 per person by signing up at the slideshow. It's a thank you from me to you. When you're filling it out, we need your name to appear as it does on your passport. Now, some of you might be saying, oh my gosh, I didn't bring my passport. She gave me that look. Didn't bring my passport. We do not need your passport information to take your reservation. If you do not have your passport, but you want to reserve your seat, fill out the form, make your reservation, and when you have your passport information in hand, call Madeline and give it to her, and she'll send it in to us. It's very easy. If you are saying, gosh, my passport's going to expire soon, that's fine. Get a new one, and when you get that new one, give us the info. No worries.
So, question back to my question
Yeah.
earlier. When it says you have to choose the crystal,
Mhm.
Waterford Crystal, or the medieval museum, I kind of want to be able to look them up a little bit to know what I want to do. And I have a friend who's been at Waterford, so I kind of want to get some input.
Totally.
So can I decide that later?
So, what was your name?
Linda.
Linda was asking me about, on the reservation form, you see a choice. Do I want to do the Dublin tour by bus or by walking? Do I want to do the House of the Waterford Crystal, or do I want to do the Medieval Museum? Now, if you don't check one of those boxes, we're going to default you into one or the other. If you don't make that decision tonight and you say any time between now and before you leave you make that decision, just give Madeline a call. She'll tell us which one you want. We'll make that check mark for you. If on tour you realize, oh my gosh, I never said if I wanted to do a walking tour or a motor coach tour that day, and you find out you're on the motor coach tour, but you prefer the walking tour, just tell your tour manager. We won't have an issue getting you on the other one. So you're not locked into it. You don't have to make that decision tonight.
True with the Waterford Museum as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, we would prefer to know well before, a little earlier than when you leave for the Waterford Crystal, because we have to buy tickets, things like that. Yes, ma'am.
Do we do just one application for a couple, or do we do?
Great question. So this reservation form just pops right out of the middle of the flyer, okay? We need one per person, but on the bottom is the payment info. If you're gonna pay by card, you don't have to fill that out twice, but we need the top filled out per person because that's their personal information. Great question.
And if you're traveling solo, but you want to be paired up with a roommate, we can help with that as well.
Oh, great point, Madeline. So some people are saying, gosh, I'd rather pay the double price, but I'm a single traveler. We at Colette will not put you with someone random, but you can tell Madeline, I'm a single and I'm looking for a roommate. And someone else might say, I'm also a single and looking for a roommate. And before we put you together, we suggest you go get coffee or lunch or something. Make sure that you guys want to room with each other for 10 days while in Ireland. These are all great questions. And if you hear anything, if you think of anything, just raise your hand, blurt it out. We're here to help. I'm in no rush to leave, so I'm here to help you guys until you're ready.
The bus tour versus the walking tour. If you take the bus one, can you walk on your own and see stuff when you get back? And what would you recommend?
Okay, so if you take the motor coach tour, you have the afternoon at leisure. You can go back to O'Connell Street, you can go back to Grafton Street, but you won't have the guide.
Right.
So you'd be self-guided at that point. There's probably a hop-on, hop-off guide thing that you could purchase and do on your own down there, but you would basically be on your own.
And how long would you be walking? Like, how many miles would you say?
I don't think it's even miles.
Okay.
You know, it's a city center thing. You're gonna Grafton Street, O'Connell Street. It's all in the city
Versus
center.
on the bus, you'd be all over the city.
Yeah, it'd be like if we were gonna take you to the city center of Seattle. You know, you're gonna maybe do Westlake and Pike Place Market, but you're not gonna walk all the way to Pioneer Square.
But
If
what
that makes any sense to anybody.
would you recommend taking? Because they both
tough.
sound to me.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, if you do the walking tour, you're not gonna see St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Yeah.
If you want to see that, be on the coach.
Okay.
It's really the
That's
biggest.
perfect.
That's the biggest difference to me. Yeah.
And like John said, you could always do the walking tour on your own, either the day before or that night.
And I did the motor coach tour. We didn't have a choice when I went. It was motor coach only. I wouldn't be surprised if you drive through O'Connell Street, if you drive by and your tour manager is like, "Enter your right, here we have the statue." Right. Well, again, I'm going to wrap up here, but I'm going to walk around and help everybody. I want to again thank Spirit 1053. It's been a wonderful relationship over the last 5 years. We've done numerous trips. We've had lots of happy travelers, people who are friends forever because of these trips and that they've met on. I want to thank you all for taking time out of your evening, being patient with me this evening, and coming and listening to us. So thank you so much. I look forward to hearing about your trip in Ireland, and I can't wait to see the photos. Thank you so much.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.